Welcome to episode 14 of the Mark Medley Show, live here on Streaker. And today's show is titled 3 Words for Love. And it's taken from a sermon by one of my favorite people on the planet, and that's none other than the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's from a Christmas sermon on peace. And I'm reading out of the book, A Testament of Hope, the essential writings and speeches of Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King first delivered this sermon at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where he served as co-pastor. On Christmas Eve, 1967, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation aired this sermon as part of the 7th annual Massey Lectures. And I'm only going to take an excerpt to open this particular podcast because I'm dealing with love. Given everything that's gone on in Charlottesville recently over the last week or so, I truly believe love will conquer hate. So I want to talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to open again with an excerpt from that sermon, A Christmas Sermon on Peace. This is Dr. King speaking now. Quote, there are 3 words for love in the Greek New Testament. One is the word eros. Eros is a sort of aesthetic, romantic love. Plato used to talk about it a great deal in his dialogues. The yearning of the soul for the realm of the divine. And there is and can always be something beautiful about eros, even in its expressions of romance. Some of the most beautiful love in all the world has been expressed this way. Then the Greek language talks about philia, which is another word for love, and philia is a kind of intimate love between personal friends. This is the kind of love you have for those people that you get along with well, and those whom you like on this level you love because you are loved. Then the Greek language has another word for love, and that is the word agape. Agape is more than romantic love. It is more than friendship. Agape is understanding, creative, redemptive, goodwill toward all men. Agape is an overflowing love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would say that it is the love of God operating in the human heart. When you rise to love on this level, you love all men, not because you like them, not because their ways appeal to you, but you love them because God loves them. This is what Jesus meant when he said, love your enemies. And I'm happy that he didn't say, like your enemies, because there are people that I find it pretty difficult to like. Liking is an affectionate emotion, and I can't like anybody who would trample over me with injustices. I can't like them. I can't like anybody who threatens to kill me day in and day out. But Jesus reminds us that love is greater than liking. Love is understanding, creative, redemptive, goodwill toward all men. And that's from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his sermon, A Christmas Sermon on Peace. And I opened the show with that because that's what we're going to be talking about here during this podcast, and that is agape love. And as Dr. King explained the difference between philia and eros, agape is not that. Agape is the ability to love mankind, as he said, because God loves them. In other words, my love for you is not based on your skin color. My love for you is not based on your intellect. My love for you is not based on your gender. My love for you is not based on any other thing other than the fact that you are a human being just like I am, who was created by God. And see, this is where I believe at this point in 2017, I believe, and I could be wrong, I could be foolish enough to believe this, but I believe there are more of those out there in 2017 who now understand and can express agape love than there might have been during the time when Dr. King delivered this sermon back in 1967. I could be wrong because I know some of those same people are still around. But I honestly believe that at the point in time we are in at this moment, and what we've seen and the outcry and all of the backlash from everything that went on in Charlottesville with the white supremacists, the white nationalists, the KKK, and all those folks that were down in Charlottesville protesting, showing hatred, I honestly believe that there is more of us out there who can show agape love. And because of that, we're going to be a force. I believe those who believe and know what agape love is, we're going to be a force. I don't think those haters, those who showed the kind of hate that they showed back in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, and even some would say even show today, just in overt ways versus covert ways. But I don't think there's enough of them now. I think at this point they are in the minority. The president during his remarks said something about many sides. I honestly believe those many sides are going to come together. If you listened to the taunts as the crowd was marching down the street, they were chanting something along the line of, "Jews will not replace us." And I'm sure they could have filled in anything in that blank before the words "replace us." Blank will not replace us. I'm sure they could have filled in any blank. They just happened to be caught on camera saying Jews. But I honestly believe all those different sides that have been ostracized, that have been marginalized, who have been put down over time, all those sides are going to unite. And because of that, I don't think the white nationalists, the KKK, the supremacists, I don't think those folks stand a chance. I think they're going to find themselves in the minority. Will they take a few of us out, just as they did with Heather last week when that driver drove his car into the masses? Yes. Will there be other bloodshed? Yes. But I think when all is said and done, agape love is going to win out. Another one of Dr. King's quotes had something to do with darkness, with light driving out darkness. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can drive out darkness. And I'm paraphrasing. But that's the truth of the matter. I said this earlier on my radio show this morning. Darkness cannot overcome light no matter how hard it tries. Now, if you don't believe me, go into your house and I want you to turn out every light in the house when it gets to the darkest point tonight. And then I want you to enter whatever room you choose and turn on a light. Or better yet, don't turn on a light. Go get a candle and watch how, as wherever you go with that candle, darkness disappear. I honestly believe agape love is going to drive out hate. And I honestly believe we're at a point now where there are more on the side of agape love than it was even at that time when Dr. King gave this speech. We must come together. Hatred cannot stand on any form or any level. It's a sad day and a sad statement. And I'm personifying now. It's a sad day and sad statement when hatred, bigotry, prejudice, racism feels that the President of the United States has their back. And as I said, I'm using personification because, as you know, hatred is not a person per se. It's like they say, hard times was knocking on my door. We personify hard times. Well, I'm personifying hatred. I'm personifying bigotry. I'm personifying prejudice. I'm personifying racism. And those factions feel that the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States, feel that he has their back. And I'm here to say that it will not stand. Love trumps hate, no pun intended. Light drives out darkness. It's not debatable. We've seen it. We've seen all the backlash from the commentary. We've seen various CEOs pull out. We've seen charitable events that was going to be held at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Folks pulled out. We've seen folks in the White House fired. We've seen all types of backlash and consequences as a result of what happened last week in Charlottesville. So we honestly need to take into account these three words. We need to really understand the difference between erotic love, which is boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, significant other. That's that romantic love. That's not the kind of love we're talking about. We're not even talking about philia. And if you look back in your history, or if you search words, you will understand that Philia is the first part of Philadelphia. That's why it's the city of brotherly love. Philadelphia. That's Phila. That's, again, the way I love my God brother, the way I love my friend, my best friend. That's that kind of love. But then you have agape love, which somebody that may not even know me or love me, I still love them regardless. That's what we're talking about there. That's the love that I honestly believe, that not just here in the United States, because the rest of the world is watching what we do. The rest of the world is watching Donald Trump. The rest of the world leaders is watching to see how Donald Trump has handled this situation. They've sat back and they've watched. They're sitting back and they're watching. It's been totally mishandled. The killing of that young woman, the killing of that young lady last week was mishandled. The response to it. And interestingly enough, since we were talking about the supreme race and white and black and Jews and this, that, and the other, it was interesting that Heather Heyer, or Heyer, however she said her name, was a white woman, was eulogized by a black man. Reverend Edwards was a black man. So it was interesting, even the dynamics of that funeral. The eulogy was delivered by a black man, even though the victim was a white woman. Agape love. Love will conquer all. Love forgives a multitude of sins. Love is what's going to take us through. And in the end, love is going to win. Evil will not be victorious over good. Hate will not be victorious over love. This is another edition of the Mark Medley Show here on Spreaker.